Of course, this Bruce Stadium has been such a happy hunting ground for the Canberra Raiders. They rarely lose here. One loss this year, that was to Parramatta early in the season. In fact, that was only their second game of the year. This Canberra side, they're ready to mount a challenge all the way through to the finals. Their draw looks a reasonable one. They don't meet any of the top 8 sides, bar Auckland, in their last 7 matches. So I think a lot of teams would like to have the draw that Canberra have in the run home. The contrast is Cronulla, who face the toughest of draws, with the likes of Manly, North Sydney, Brisbane, Newcastle and the Roosters just waiting around the corner.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in 1996, welcome on to the Bruce Stadium, the News Classified Raiders.
And it's Laurie Daly who takes the Raiders out in front of his home fans. And this Canberra side, they've been involved in some thrilling matches over the past fortnight. 2-point victories, or 2-point victory last week over Newcastle, and that man David Furner was the man who landed the match-winning conversion. That's their lineup for today. Mullins, Appo comes into the side for Nagus, Boyle, Wiki, Nandruku. The halves, Daly and Ferris. The forwards, Kennedy, Furner, Hetherington, DeVico, Walters and Wesley into this side for the suspended Quentin Pongia. Tim Sheens, of course, the Canberra coach. And now the Cronulla Sharks, Andrew Ettinghausen, sidelined through injury last Saturday night in their victory over the Bulldogs. But back today, and a key man in this Sharks lineup, who have what could only be described as a terrible record here at Bruce Stadium. Their side for today, Peachy, Rogers, Ettinghausen, Bateman, Barnett, Healy and Green the halves. The forwards, Nikau, Long, Greenhill, Davidson, Treaster and Lee. Coach of the Cronulla Sharks is John Lang. Sideline this afternoon. Good afternoon, Steve Roach.
Again, Andrew, pretty cool conditions down here on the sideline. You already mentioned Canberra have won the toss and will be running towards the scoreboard. Cronulla in 4th position at the moment. They're a funny side. They've had losses this year to North Queensland, Western Suburbs and the Western Reds. Let's hope they can get on top of that today. But as you said, Canberra very hard to beat down here.
Referee today, Paul McBlain. And for this first half of football, Mitch Healy kicking off. Cronulla left to right, the lime green of the Canberra Jumpers. And it's Hetherington in the first hit up. And Long was the player coming over the top. Treaster around the legs. This Canberra side, they're looking a little depleted as the big drive comes. Greenhill and Nikau. But the troops are dropping off one by one in recent weeks. This is Furner. The latest players, Pongia, suspended for 6 matches. The previous week it was John Lomax and Jason Croker. And this is Wesley in the headgear. And attracting 4 defenders. David Wesley. Walters away, Ferris. On for Daly, kicking. Winger up on the line, that was Barnett. So Peachy from his own 20. And the Canberra chasers there on the 30-metre line. Now Matt Rogers. Driven back by the Canberra defence. Wiki is there. He's one of the strongest defenders in the game. Now Denny Lee wrapped up by Laurie Daly. There's Davidson. Oh, they crept up a little high, Hetherington. The Canberra side have had some trouble in that department, and Treaster has cleaned up. The Canberra defence is driving in. That time Kennedy. Fiery start in defence. Healy got the kick away. Now with it is Graham Appo.
Looks as though there'll be a penalty for the tackle on Mitch Healy after kicking the football. He's still down receiving attention, the Sharks 5'8".
Yeah, Pete, the referee saw this incident and decided to let it go. He was keeping a good eye on proceedings. That's a fair enough penalty too, I believe now that the touch judges come in, but I'm sure that McBlain saw that and decided to let it go.
Yeah, the question to be asked is whether the chaser, man putting pressure on, had time to pull out of the tackle, and from that shot we see that the halfback Jason Ferris did have time.
There's no doubt about that. And now the question becomes, do Cronulla go for goal from 20 out?
This was the swinging arm you called by Jason Hetherington. He actually fell off the tackle of Les Davidson. Some good ground was found by the Sharks runners from dummy half, but some strong defence from the Raiders stop those yards being capitalised on. And that one just a little bit high from the Canberra second rower.
So Tim Sheens would be hoping they can fulfil this match with a full complement. Of course, Quentin Pongia remained on the field last Friday night, subsequently suspended for 6 matches. The previous week without Lomax.
You got any stats on Matty Rogers there, boss? You'd have him at the fingertips, wouldn't you? He hasn't been kicking that well this season, I don't believe.
67% as we see now.
He has kicked 7 from 7 in the last 2 weeks, so he's starting to find the sweet spot.
He's going good.
It's the left foot of Matt Rogers, 24 metres out, and he's hooked this one first up, so we'll come back to the 20 for the dropout.
Raiders no score, Cronulla no score.
Well, that was still the right decision for the Sharks to kick for goal. Both sides are pretty good defensive teams, and points once a game you would imagine would be at a premium. Now Laurie Daly will restart.
And a big welcome to all the
A very high kick, Peachy motioning to his players to get ready to support.
And it's Greenhill who comes back from suspension himself last weekend. Extra interest here at Bruce Stadium amongst the fans. The bookmaker operating again on course, or at the ground if you like, and first try scorer attracting most of the interest. So the fans have that little bit extra as Long sort of ricocheted from the attempted tackle of Hetherington.
Plenty of interest in this box.
Now spreading it, Green fired that pass for Healy, and Peachy is in the line. He's got past Boyle. The Canberra defence coming across in the shape of David Furner. Bateman away for Green, now fed along for Nakau. They're in motion, the Cronulla side. On the 40-metre line, but up to the 5th tackle for the Sharks. Nakau needed support. Treester on the blind side. Stab kick there will go only as far as Nandruku, the hero from last week. 2 tries, now finds Mullins. Canberra attacking from their own goalmouth. And Eddinghausen made the tackle. It was a promising raid, and now Furner. Certainly some sting in the defence from both teams. Wesley. And Ferris along DeVico. Certainly the defence of both teams, they're rushing out of the line, looking to put on the big shot as Walters made 10 from dummy half. And DeVico for Daly. On the last tackle, kicking for the wing of Rogers, and Rogers comes around well. And with just a little bit of room, and Furner crept up again a little high on Matt Rogers. He's not a tall player. This is Barnett. Through traffic, makes good ground. So no score, but an enthusiastic start. Nathan Long. And again, he's able to offload. This is Treester. Not something we see a lot of from Nathan Long, the offload. Wide ball from dummy half. Healy along for Nakau. Ricky and Kennedy there. Now Healy, back for Lee. Moving straight there on the 5th. Healy's in position for the kick on the right side of the ruck. He's a great kicker of the football. This is a high one. Now, is it a little too deep? Going back for it as Nandruku has lost it. And touch in goal.
No, he's a wonderful kicker of the football, is Healy. And that one, he was always struggling, Nandruku, to get to it. Over his back, he had to turn and chase. He never really had it covered, did he? So this will be a dropout from right under the sticks, giving Cronulla some more possession.
Locker on the sideline, certainly a very physical start to the match, but that could well suit Cronulla.
Yes, it could. They had a tough game against Canterbury last week, and they outmuscled them. So talking to a couple of their officials, I think that would have stood them in good stead for this match against Canberra.
Well, they have been stiffened by the return of this guy, Paul. Craig Greenhill, you coached him in State of Origin. What impressed you?
Well, his attitude's great. He just wants to get the ball in his hands and run hard and straight, and he loves to hit hard in defence. And we never saw the best of him in Origin. And with the 8 weeks he had off, I'm sure he'd be a lot better player for it. And he's already out there, very keen today.
In the meantime, Nakau inside for Long, and an awkward-looking attempt there from DeVico. All arms trying to get a hold of Long. Cronulla with Green inside, the ball for Lee. And almost coming off for Cronulla. Now 8 metres out from the Canberra line, Treester. This is Green with a step. He dummies and goes himself. Paul Green has scored for the Sharks. The little number 7 has made something out of nothing.
And 23 betting tickets just got ripped up here by Vossi and Snorky.
No.
But a great run by Paul Green. It's been all Cronulla so far in the match. It's a dummy inside. Once again, the slippery conditions here. Players missing tackles, falling over. I think Ben Kennedy missed him. He was one, and there was another involved as well, but a great run by Green.
Last year's Rothmans medalist, of course. Great player. In fact, I don't think he's missed a match since his debut game, which is something like in the high 70s ago. So he's very durable as well as talented, and really the spark to much of this Cronulla attack. Tremendous footwork. He scores the first 4-pointer here right in front, so Matt Rogers should have few problems with this one.
Yeah, the stats on Paul Green, incredible. 79 straight. And Denny Lee, the front rower, is in the same class as Paul Green with that sort of record. Consecutive games, the two of them have been there for a couple of seasons without missing a game. So Matt Rogers' second kick of the day, but this one right in front. And Cronulla have the start they wanted. Here at Bruce Stadium, the Sharks lead the Raiders 6-0. Back with the action, Canberra behind by 6 points to 0. And this is the Cronulla Sharks from the kickoff, and Davidson in the tackles leading up to the try got a good offload, some second phase play for the Sharks. A good sign early, now Treester. 10-metre gain from a player who has become a very busy hooker. He settled in nicely into this Cronulla side. And now Greenhill. DeVico over the top. Now to Weir and a cow. In fact, you've used the word grafting for this Cronulla side, but it is the perfect description, although that's not their best play. A loose pass and Bateman having to clean up, but they just graft away. You don't normally get too many errors from a Cronulla side. Healy with a kicking boot. One bounce to Mullins. Mullins trying to position Appo, who stayed on the outside.
It's going to be a very good battle out in the centres. Apart from plenty of attacking ability, I think we've got the two best defensive centres in the competition up against each other in Andrew Eddinghausen and Ruben Wiki. They mightn't come together too often. Although Ruben Wiki here taken by Alan Bateman. But in different ways, they are so effective in the defensive department.
DeVico went the blind side and has caught the defence offside. I think McLean had plenty of assistance from the crowd here too. They certainly let him know.
With no choice but to give the penalty. They were about 2 metres inside. Look at them, he can see them playing the advantage, but there is none.
So Hetherington, that first hit up. They're 35 out from the Cronulla line. Now a penalty in the ruck there against the Sharks.
Now, I think that one's a fairly tough call. I think that both the Cronulla defenders made an effort to get out of the way.
Oh, the Raiders, a real springboard for them now, and Hetherington, again, 10 metres out from the Sharks line. The crowd lifts as Ferris pushes along for Furner. Furner wrapped up 3 defenders. Let's prevent those offloads. Walters, Daly, now Wesley. Good tackle from Nathan Long. One-on-one defence from dummy half Boyle. Pushed back and has lost the ball, and back comes Rogers. So Canberra, a chance goes.
Strong defence on David Boyle here. You can see 4 Cronulla players there. Les Davidson should have been penalised. He raked the ball out. It was on the blind side of both the referee and the touch judge, so called play on.
Cronulla working their way out. Worth looking at the head-to-head between these two sides. Canberra with the advantage, 16-11 in the 27 clashes, but that bottom line significant. 5 victories from 5 attempts here at Bruce Stadium for the Canberra side. And all of those wins by 13 plus. At this stage, Cronulla in front. Healy again. He'll keep turning this Canberra side around, but again he's picked out Mullins. And Greenhill and Long, the second rowers combining. Now Nandruku. He's in slow motion, now he speeds it up. Sighted half a gap. Competition's leading try scorer, Noah Nandruku. Ferris with Daly. On for Furner. Furness through the tackle of Healy, then floats the pass for Appo. The cover is coming at Appo. It's Ettinghausen. Throws it inside. That play on for Boyle. It's come off the hand of Peachy, and Canberra have scored. My only concern is, did Appo propel the ball forward in passing the football? It's 6-4 to the Sharks.
And they've had a lot of possession in the last couple of minutes, Canberra, and that's when they're at their most dangerous. Laurie Daly throwing the ball to Furness. He's able to get to his feet. With his play there, you can see that Matt Rogers is coming off the wing, and that allows Appo some space down the outside. Play continues. Appo carrying the ball in the left hand. He appears to be covered by Ettinghausen. Pretty poor positional play from the fullback from Cronulla, I thought. Ettinghausen had the winger covered. He should have stayed with the inside support.
Well, one thing he did do very well here, Appo, is keep Andrew Ettinghausen at bay while he prepared to throw this pass, a one-hander. But it's a good fend he puts on ET. Just holds him off for long enough to get rid of this one-hander. Peachy gets his hand in the way, taps it forward, play on. And away goes Boyle.
And David Boyle, the man who scores, he's not one of their headline players, but a very valuable player all the same in this Canberra lineup. His third try for 96.
And he'll be very happy with that one, obviously, David Boyle, but especially so as he was the man stripped of the football down this end of the field moments ago, relieving the pressure on Cronulla. But I did think the Cronulla cover defenders should have stayed with David Boyle. Both Matt Rogers and David Peachy ended up in no man's land, coming up with no tackle.
So Furner with a kick. Not a great success rate this year. He'd be looking to pick up that in the run home to the finals. 64 points in total. And just under 200 last season, David Furner, and this one is driven between the sticks. So back to all square. The Raiders and the Sharks 6-all.
Canberra Raiders, all my company, and the Raiders 6, Cronulla 6.
Back here at Bruce Stadium. 6-all the score, the Sharks and the Raiders, and a good start to the match. And Canberra with Wesley. Or rather, Wiki it was. And the Raiders on the board after conceding that early try. And they are a side that can score not just one, but tries in doubles. There's now Ferris. Mullins up in the line, along with Daly. Pushes further then for Wiki, and they've lost the ball and over the sideline. Steve Roach on the sideline. That try rushing past you.
Yeah, well, I'm not so sure about the inside ball from Appo. It looked like it went forward. It did touch David Peachy. Have a look at here. It is. There's Peachy in front of him. That ball is thrown forward, and I don't think that's a try.
Yeah, it's a tough one because that was my first impression, and the first time I looked at the replay, I thought, no, it's gone back. We'll stick with the action for the moment. That's been knocked down by a Canberra player. And McBlain has ruled, in fact, a penalty now.
Yes, he's got Ruben Wiki for being offside, saying that was touched by a Canberra player, and Ruben Wiki dived on the football from an offside position. It would have been a Cronulla feed from the scrum anyway, you would have imagined. At centre field, 38 metres out, Matt Rogers here will take the kick for goal.
Well, this is a long-range attempt for Rogers. No, just harking back to the try. If Appo's first motion was to throw the ball forward, and looking at that replay a second time, it did appear as if that was the case. And it doesn't matter whether Peachy touched it in flight. The pass was thrown forward. Some attention there for David Furner. We're having a look at the wrist. There appears to be, Fatty, some notes written on the wrist.
But he's got the extra special moves written on it, so he doesn't forget them. Here comes Rogers.
And Rogers has pushed this one off the upright and straight into the arms of Appo. That fell very nicely for the Canberra winger. So 1 from 3 for Matt Rogers, and could be costly in the end. So around the ruck there, and Hetherington makes good metres.
Paul pointed out that Rogers hasn't kicked that well this season, apart from the last fortnight. He is hooking the ball fairly badly. As Kennedy, great ball inside to Hetherington. Or Furner it is.
Furner,
that's forward.
That was definitely forward for Daly, and McBlain was perfectly in line with that one. But gee, that was a good raid, started by Ben Kennedy, a superstar in the making.
Bad luck again for the Raiders here. A good bust. Nice short ball by Daly onto Kennedy. Easily gets through the Nick-out tackle, and then a great inside ball to Furner. He's away. No worries about that being forward. Daly was there to back up.
There's Healy to halfway. This match appears to have plenty of points in it. There's Greenhill. It's up in the tackle of Boyle. Appo and Hetherington there to assist. Now Nathan Long. Times his run and ran into a stiff arm from DeVico around the chest. Along with Green. Defence is up quickly on Healy and puts pressure on the support players. Peachy did well for Davidson. Tackled 35 metres out from the line. Cronulla have made their first interchange for the day. You'll shortly see Andrew Pearce in the action in 14. On for Nathan Long. This is Green. Eddinghausen on the 30-metre line. And the last tackle for the Sharks. Healy, there's the high ball again, and the chase is there in numbers. Mullins flies high. That is superb from Brett Mullins. At his very best.
Brett hasn't been playing with a lot of confidence in season 96, so that'll do it the world of good. Magnificent take there from Mullins. Under a mile of pressure, there was 4 or 5 Cronulla chases. Actually, one of them taken out there by Nandruku. Missed by the ref, but wonderful stuff from Mullins.
There's a penalty. I wouldn't mind having a look at the Mullins take again. There's one point to be kept in consideration there, is that he actually took off from the field of play in catching that ball. Does Canberra get the penalty back up to halfway? So the Raiders on the attack. Trista makes the tackle on DeVico. Strong start to the game from Luke DeVico. Now Ferris on for Hetherington.
And that restart on the 20-metre line is the one I've been waiting for all week. Man did put the ball down and tap it.
This time they've lost it, and Eddinghausen. Half a chance. Mullins was the last line. So Cronulla looking to attack straight away here. Trista on for Peachy, an elusive player. And he's proving it right now, David Peachy. Some broken field running from the Sharks in 2 tackles. They've made 30 metres. Now Nakau. Davidson standing wide. Has the arm free, back for Nakau, bats it on. And further on, this is Tian Strauss is now on, the South African. Making his debut for the Sharks. And this is Pearce. So the bench players getting used now for the Cronulla side. Switch of play from Green. Healy. Back. This is a little unlike Cronulla. An offload there for Rogers. Received the pass from Pearce, and Rogers takes off. The spot fires are happening out there in the defensive line. Cronulla could be looking at more points now. Green. Mullins came up with a try saver. Still on for the Sharks. Peachy into the end goal. This will be a try to the Sharks. No. Have they got there? McBlain is going to award it to Peachy. Oh, that was a photo finish.
Well, amazing football from Cronulla, and it is uncharacteristic style of play. Paul Green threw the dummy on the last tackle, sliced through. Tremendous front-on defence from Brett Mullins, but Mitch Healy flicked the ball out the back. Here's Paul Green sizing up his options on the last. Slides through, finds Healy on the outside. Strong stuff, and just as he's going to ground, flicks the ball back. Peachy, beautiful vision there, knowing it was the last now. The question is whether Steve Wallace gets there first. No doubt at all. Tremendous work from the fullback.
Yeah, great stuff there from Cronulla. They're down here doing their best, and Peachy comes up with a nice piece of individual work. Good try, this one.
You see Steve Walters coming out of left of screen here, despairing dive. It's a one-handed pressure from David Peachy, only seconds or moments before the Canberra player can come across.
David Peachy missed a large part of last year through injury. Now Rogers with kick 4 for the day. Not a hard one by any means, and Rogers another two. So seesawing battle. The Sharks lead the Raiders. 12-6, we'll take a break.
Replacement for the Raiders. Number 10, Luke Delico leaves the fields. Taking the fields, number 27, Mark Corbo.
Welcome back. The Canberra Raiders find themselves behind for the second time in the match. And Les Davidson from the kickoff. Cronulla looking to attack, and gee, they're playing with some confidence now, the Sharks. Green offloads, and now Peachy inside the Raiders' half. There's support there. It looms in Rogers. Almost away from Mullins. Adam Dykes is now out there in 16. He was the man who passed to Rogers. Dykes along for Green, then across for Healy. Healy floats that ball wide with Barnett. Really trying to stretch this Raiders defence. And Wiki makes a crucial tackle. Now 25 out from the Raiders line. Green inside ball for Lee. They settle down for one. Time Mark Corvo made the tackle. Green with Healy. A dummy to Eddinghausen. Picked off Pearce. And ball and all tackle from Wesley. Strauss now. Inside the Raiders 20. They've been going very well in the lower grades in recent weeks. There's Healy on the last, and here comes another bomb. Mullins getting across. Chase is all there. Mullins has missed, and Eddinghausen has scored. Oh, an air raid from the Cronulla Sharks. And Eddinghausen, a try-scoring specialist.
Not the first try we've seen Andrew Eddinghausen score from the bomb, and it won't be the last. He is magnificent in the air. Here's Les Davidson offloading to Paul Green. He is having a blinder, Paul Green. The big left foot step. Beat Ferner with that one, and then found David Peachy from fullback supporting. Great play here. Matt Rogers flies up on the outside. The support play excellent from the Sharks. And at the end, Mitch Healy, a pinpoint bomb here. All the pressure on, and the chase was good. All players onside from that shot. And Andrew Eddinghausen really has great hands, spins out, puts the ball down.
Well, it's a smash-up at this stage. Cronulla all over the Raiders. Their defence is very weak today. The Raiders have already missed 12 tackles. The thing about Cronulla, they always finish their sets of six well. They do something positive on tackle number 6, whether it be looking for the try out wide through the long balls or putting up the bombs.
And scoring the tries in close range to the posts. Rogers again to give the Sharks a 12-point lead. Cronulla looking to put paid to this Bruce Stadium bogey, 18-6.
Well, Mitch Healy, you've pointed out his expertise in the kicking department. And Andrew Eddinghausen, he just has a look at the post to make sure he goes around it. Flies high along with his teammates and gets the ball down. And Paul pointed out the misses in defence. It is a different style of Canberra defence than what we became used to. They were such good exponents of sliding defence, and that's forcing the opposition towards the sideline, so they ran out of room. Now they play a lot of up and in. In fact, we saw Noah Nandruku come in 15 or 20 metres off his wing to give Richard Barnett room on the far side.
Well, Strauss there from the kick-off. Now Adam Dykes. They go through their youngest to their oldest player there. And now Green with a switch. The Sharks again, they've busted the line. Pearce for Rogers. A stumble, he's still alive. Eddinghausen in support. Eddinghausen on the chase. Oh, this is sensational from the Sharks. Eddinghausen has scored within a tackle of the restart.
And David Boyle, one missed tackle. And straight through Les Davidson, and ET gets his second in as many minutes. A very simple move here. David Boyle, complete miss. Good offload from Les Davidson. The stumble here for Matt Rogers, but he stayed out with the sideline. That kept Brett Mullins over with him, and the perfect bounce for Eddinghausen. Beautifully constructed.
Well, it comes back to the defence once again. I mean, here we are just after a restart. I reckon, I'm just wondering if ET's jogging alongside Matt Rogers here. He might have even said to him, what about the kick? And a great skill. He was going to pass it. I reckon ET said, listen, put it over. And ET was prepared to chase this. He's outpaced Brett Mullins.
I must apologise to Andrew Pearce. In fact, it was Pearce who made the bust, not Les Davidson. And that was the result.
And what about the match race to the line? It'll beat anything you could see it at Atlanta, really. Eddinghausen and Mullins footing it for the ball.
They're just great athletes, aren't they? And of course, Eddinghausen had the advantage with the fact that Mullins had to turn and chase. Doing that against ET, you're always going to run second.
And the crowd is stunned. It's become a landslide for the Sharks, and Rogers from 15 in from touch for another 2, and he hasn't struck that at all well.
Unsuccessful, still remain.
And he's not happy either. The Sharks 22, the Raiders 6. And still 14 out from half-time.
This will be much easier for a right foot kicker. So that took some skill to get the ball in the right place. Matt Rogers, he's a fine young player, really has made a mark since coming into the top grade. A bit of pressure on with the fact that his surname is Rogers and he's the son of the great Steve Rogers. He really handles the top grade without any problems.
I think the shot we just showed you of Tim Sheen's left any doubt there's some urgency needed from the Raiders. Something needs to be done to rectify the problems they've got out there. Jason Burnham making that tackle, but Cronulla making ground wide, making ground through the centre. And now Dykes away with Green. This time it's Davidson, he offloads. It was one that came spinning out, put a bit of pressure on Paul Green. Now Dykes away for Healy. And that's come off the side of the boot and as well over the sideline. And that came about because of the pressure put on by the Canberra players.
Just wondering, Blocker, how the talk is. They looked very quiet behind the try line there a minute ago, the Raiders.
Yeah, we know that they've had a lot of changes to their side. Laurie Daly especially. I mean, I've been used to him the last few weeks that I've seen really take games by the throat. He hasn't done that yet. They haven't had much football, but
Boyle tried to trample over the top of a couple of defenders. Now Daly on here for Stone, who's on for Jason Ferris, and a penalty to the Raiders. So I don't think any thought will be given to a shot at goal from 25 out.
And maybe if it had brought them back within 12 points, they may have considered it. They're not trailing by 16, having to score 3 times. And Canberra are at their most dangerous when they do string together some possession. That's how they scored their first try. They're doing so at the moment.
Corvo. The Raiders, Walters, Stone. Skips out a man with a pass and Ferner. Green is up there quickly with Pearce. Andrew Pearce is having a game. Stone, quick hands, inside, Mullins. Strauss comes up. Green and Lee finish off the tackle. Canberra needing to score. 15 out from the Cronulla line. Walters. Stone again fires it across. Daly and now Kennedy. Kennedy inside the Sharks 10. And the Raiders trying as hard as they possibly can, and Burnham is shut down by Dykes. That's 5 tackles. They've barely gone past the 10-metre line. The kick is across for Appo. Back there, good play from Appo, and Boyle pushes the pass out the back for Ferner. You won't find all of that in the textbook. And then Ferner makes a tackle on Peachy.
It wasn't a good kick from Steve Stone. Didn't get into the in-goal area at all. Graham Appo tried to propel the ball backwards, and Ferner, realising it was the last, had to keep it alive. It took the pressure off, and the crowd appealing there for a little knock-on.
The work firstly by Appo, then Boyle. And back with the Sharks in front of their own sticks. Nathan Long. It's as game as they come, Nathan Long. But simply he gets smashed at least half a dozen times in every game, but keeps lining up. And now for Brett Mullins. Cronulla chases there. A line of 5 and 6 defenders. Pearce was the first man. Nandruku from his opposite wing is taken high there by Rogers. Touch judge having a close look at the action. It appeared to clip Nandruku a little high. Now Burnham. Walters trapped at dummy half. Still able to push on for Stone. The Sharks are swarming in. Ferner, Daly. Cuts out 2 with a pass. Kennedy spun away from 2. Then past Green. Kennedy is moving. 25 out from the Sharks line. The scrambling defence got there. Last tackle now for the Raiders. That wasn't the best of passes. Daly, there's an overlap. If it gets to hand, Burnham, Boyle, now Mullins. Mullins for Appo, and on the advice of a touch judge, we're back for a forward pass. An anti-climax.
It may not have been an anti-climax if the pass from Laurie Daly had have been better directed. Really had quite an overlap there. It was just a matter of drawing and passing, but the drop ball allowed the Cronulla defence to reform to some extent. Pass there really took all the oomph out of the momentum.
The last one for Appo.
And we've seen a lost ball here from a bustling run from Craig Greenhill. He's lost it, so the advantage goes to the Raiders. They've got a blood bin now for David Furner.
What about his back row partner? We've given him plenty of rap spin, Kennedy, but gee, he is going to be a very, very good rugby league player. He already is in a short period of time and is only going to get better with experience.
We'll restart to play, and Canberra, an interesting scrum move here, all standing behind the pack. Daly takes off down the blind, and Eddinghausen makes the tackle. But they're like a swarm of bees as now Burnham driven across by the defence. Cronulla aiming up. If they can hold Canberra to 6 at half-time, at the same time have 22 on the board, they will be absolutely delighted. 30 out from the Sharks line. Stone. And a chance here for the Raiders. Kennedy. Inside. Nandruku gets the pass back inside. It was knocked down by a Sharks player. And they come out of trouble with Greenhill.
That is a run out of trouble as well, but it was a bomb try from the Raiders. The pass inside to Brett Hetherington, nowhere near him. Nathan Long makes another charge. Kennedy to Nandruku. I don't know whether the ball was touched by Peachy or not, but it didn't find the mark.
Two defenders in there on the tackle on Pearce. Davidson. 10 metres made inside the Canberra half. And this is back for Healy. That kick is a deep one, and Mullins gets a hand to it. From his own in goal again, the chase is superb from the Sharks. Eddinghausen is the man leading it, the captain of the Cronulla side. Wiki. Hasn't seen a lot of the football. Now Daly, DeVico. Picked up and thrown down by the Cronulla defence. Jason Burnham. Time Walters. He's not getting a lot of peace out of dummy half Steve Walters. He's still been able to offload on a couple of occasions, but short of making a lot of ground. Now that kick from Daly is a deep one. And Peachy is back there, but the Canberra chase not the same straight line as the Sharks, and Peachy is elusive again. Links up with Rogers. Now for Barnett down the left side. There's trouble here for the Raiders. Barnett up to the 40. A bad pass inside, fielded by Peachy. The touch judge has given a tip here to McBlain. It may be impeding one of the chasers, and in fact he's going to rule against the Cronulla side.
Yeah, great kick return here. After the initial bust, he looked for support and found it. Nice ball from Rogers to his wing, opposite wingman in Barnett. I thought he erred here. He just should have put the foot down and gone for it. He should have outpaced Wiki, but the mistake coming.
I can't see where the mistake was. Didn't see a knock on at all. The ball was passed backward. Doesn't matter which way it bounces then.
So Canberra with Nandruku and Cronulla inside the 10. That penalty helps every time Cronulla have the ball. Well, they're playing Canberra football of recent seasons, really.
And Blocker, we were talking before the game that this was probably a test of credibility for the chances of Cronulla in 1996. If they get beaten in this football game, you've got to say that they're not capable of taking out the comp.
Well, I'm sure that Johnny Lang would have spoken to him about that. You know, we do know that they had two good leads in the semi-finals last year, and I'm sure they would have learned from that, Pete, and I reckon they're a better football team this year.
Kennedy tackled, 25 out. Wiki across for Stone. Inside Burnham, quick hands, a ruck play. Mullins is up there. On the Sharks 20. And they elect to go the blind side with Stone. Long is there. And a good push from the Sharks. On the last tackle, the Canberra Raiders doing it real tough as Daly across, put down by Boyle, back for Daly. The Sharks trying to get to the ball, but this will be a changeover. Precision is not there for the Canberra Raiders. So Cronulla back with it, Dykes and Greenhill. Good shot over the top by Kennedy. Now Strauss, offload from him, Barnett. Strauss is a veteran of 15 rugby tests for the Springboks. First year of league as Davidson stretches out. Inside ball, a question mark on it. Healy with a kick through. Nandruku has it covered, then loses, but will come up with a football.
Well, Les Davidson running wide there. Easy bust. The Raiders defence, it's not marking up. They're just playing ordinary football today, the Raiders. You've got the big fella going through, a great one-hander, looked to touch forward. Steve Walter's the man who gets to the football first. A nice dive from him, but Nandruku saved it.
Oh, it's easy in retrospect, but you've got to question whether that was the right play, that the kick at the end of that one. Plenty of support. They had the momentum going. It wasn't that late in the tackle count.
Stone. On the last tackle, they're only just outside their 30. Pressure on Daly, gets a kick in. He was tackled late, and there's some concern for Daly from the Cronulla players. It bounces here for Peachy. And we'll try and link up again with Rogers. Peachy got through the first tackle. The point I make earlier, they're playing Canberra-like football, particularly from the back. Peachy has filled into the job of Mullins and the two wingers, Rogers and Barnett, proving very, very dangerous. And Andrew Pearce. Wesley was the tackler over the top. Cronulla in front, 22-6, and Greenhill has just clipped high. It was a soft swinging arm, if that can be possible, from Hetherington.
He's had a pretty good game today too, Craig Greenhill. Taking the ball up plenty of times. 10 times as a matter of fact, and gets a high one there from his opposite. And a shot for goal, looks like, just before half-time. He'll get the distance okay, Matt Rogers, but his direction of late has been just a bit dusty.
Inside the final 90 seconds of the first half. Now, Rogers hasn't been making the contact he would want. Tim Sheens, I think, contemplating what he'll have to say at half-time.
Well, I'm sure he'll be looking for a lot more commitment in defence, that's for sure. 20 misses in one half is diabolical.
One of those hard matches coming up. Home next week to Brisbane, then North Sydney, Manly, the Steelers, the Eels, the Roosters and Newcastle, leading up to the playoffs. And Rogers has this kick 38 metres out, 10 metres off centre. The left footer has given another two to the Cronulla tally. Good kick from Matt Rogers. 24-6, the Sharks over the Raiders. And that will be a confidence booster for Matt Rogers. And significant now that the lead is 18 points. 3 converted tries. Time off ruled here by McBlain, and the carry back from Brett Mullins. He's on a Sunday afternoon stroll bringing the ball back. Barely be time for a tackle before half-time. The kick-off from Boyle. The Cronulla Sharks. Davidson puts on a little shuffle as he comes back. He's been just about their best. 13 hit-ups for the half from Les Davidson. Far and away the leading forward from either side. That's the end of the first 40, and you're watching Cronulla playing some sparkling football here at Bruce Stadium. We'll take a break. The Sharks leading the Raiders by 24 points to 6. Reddinghausen 2 tries in the second half, in the first half. Back with the action, the Canberra Raiders with David Furner. Cronulla, Peachy and Strauss. Oh, taken out of the play. Ben Kennedy has picked off Strauss in the first tackle of the half. Now Craig Greenhill. Thrown to the ground by Hetherington. Look at this tackle. Great shot from Ben Kennedy, who just gets better and better. The tackles hurt Nathan Long. Now to Weir and a cow. Sharks 10 inside their own half. Trooster pushes that pass back for the Healy kick. Mullins, he's just about due for a big run from the back. He's around one. He's inside of Barnett. He steps past Greenhill. Taken by Trooster and Long. That's more like the Brett Mullins we know. Now Laurie Daly. Halfway. Walters, the Cronulla players creeping up, I thought, a little inside the 10. There's Wesley Engels infield. And Walters now with DeVico. DeVico, good tackle. Front on, perfect technique from Dean Trooster. Walters, out from dummy half. He's tackled. Now the last for Canberra. Wesley, away with Stone. Daly, Green comes up on Daly. Kennedy has to kick. Peachy has this one covered. And Peachy sets off on a run of his own and tackle. Well, the start to this second half, Stephen Roach, one suggests, is on the back for the Canberra Raiders on what has been quite a speech from Tim Sheens.
Well, Tim Sheens wasn't very happy in the sheds at half-time. You could sense it in their warm-up that they weren't really on today. He wants his team to have a little bit more pride in their game. No ball watching. You must assist your defenders, especially around the market area. Just far too many offloads, especially from Les Davidson. He said there is a bit of space on the fringe, so keep going there for the likes of Wesley and Kennedy. For Cronulla, Johnny Lang wants his team to stick to do what they do best. Don't get in the trap of playing touch football with this Canberra Raiders side. They've got to play tough early in this first 10 minutes to go on with this game. He said they must go the full 80 minutes because they've tended to drop off the last few weeks.
I just saw again the big boot of Mitch Healy. Really the number one player you'd want in the game when you're 18 points in front if you want your kicking game in the second half to keep the opposition pinned. So Canberra working the blind side with Wesley. The defence good. At times Strauss. Stone through Daly. Skips out Kennedy, finds Wiki. Wiki has Collins on his outside, who's now on in 17. Brett Hetherington is the injured player. An injury to what appears to be his left knee. It's Canberra, 10 inside their own half. They've used up 5 of their tackles. Stone, Daly, Strauss came up. Daly floats it over the top to Wesley, who's standing very wide in this half. And that is the last tackle. Canberra needing to get a kick away. It's Stone. He's done fairly well in the end to get that kick away and find touch.
That's an amazing piece of play there from Steve Stone. Canberra appear to be getting themselves into trouble, and there is some more trouble for them with Brett Hetherington leaving the field, limping off. Laurie Daly cutting out a man to find David Wesley. He appears to be wrapped up, gets the ball out the back. Eventually Stone picks it up. Now have a look how he kicks this one. He's facing the crowd. He's kicked it with his right foot, and that must have landed centimetres in the field of play.
Hetherington has gone to the sheds. And Cronulla from this scrum. Healy it is. He's standing in the centres. With Green. On Trooster at first receiver. Now Strauss. Cronulla side now. Denny Lee. For the moment had the hands free. Walters and Furner the tacklers. Green. Nathan Long. Around the legs, but no mistakes coming from the Cronulla side. Great Greenhill. Wesley went for the big hit. Didn't quite come off. Last tackle for the Sharks. Healy kicking. Perfectly placed from Mitch Healy for the corner. And dribbles over the sideline.
And that's the kind of kicking game that Cronulla want to come up with in the second half. They don't particularly want to kick the football down and have Canberra field the ball. By kicking into touch, it gets into a set play situation, which makes Canberra a little bit easier to deal with, and it also takes time off on the clock.
He was under pressure too, Mitch Healy, with that kick. With the Canberra Raiders, they were edging closer to the top 8 after the last couple of weeks. They're only 1 point out of the 8, but in danger of dropping 3 points out of the 8 after today's result, if in fact they can't fight their way back into this game. Mullins, Daly. One try will give them a sniff though, and that sort of play won't help. Mullins has lost it. Daly pushing the pass. Daly hit the ground in disgust after passing it.
There's just no sense of timing at all in the Canberra attack today. Whenever they've gone wide, the players have been too flat. The passes aren't hitting the men running at pace.
Cronulla perfect position to attack. Healy just had to hold the pass up for a fraction. Eddinghausen then on for Bateman. 35 out from the Canberra line.
And even this early in the game, I'd be thinking field goal if I was Cronulla. They can get down there, and well, that pass has got to be a bit suspect. Out to Nick out from Mitch Healy. I think turning 18 points into 19 would just about break the spirit of any team, including the Raiders to some extent.
Now Nathan Long. He adds 10 metres to their cause, and Wesley over the top. Now they can work it across centre field. Green, well, he cuts out a man. Strauss, quick hands across for Bateman. International flavour to this back line at Cronulla. Back for Strauss. Strauss, of course, not playing in the backs, but positioned there out in the centres. Trista away with Green. There's that step that produced a try in the first half. Well, last tackle. Do they want the field goal? Healy's on the left side of the ruck. With Healy now, they go for the bomb. They've had success with that. The chasers are onside. Collins under pressure. It bounces into the arms of Nandruku. Well, there's 7 or 8 players there. And it exited out the back for Nandruku. Again, the boos of the crowd for Cronulla creeping up inside the 10. With DeVico. This is his second hit up in this set of 6. Second in 4 tackles, as a matter of fact. Mullins with Stone. Wider here for Ferner. Offload there. And the tackle of Trista. Stone keeping the Raiders alive. 5th tackle here. Needing a kick, and it's Walters who has to put the punt from dummy half. Good kick from Steve Walters. And Peachy had all the time in the world and thought at the last moment, there, let it go.
And that's why I think there should be a reward, as I've pointed out many a times before. The people who kick the football at distance, I don't think it's a good thing in rugby league to see a fullback have all that time and then decide to allow the ball go over the sideline. The reward there would be a scrum feed to the Raiders.
Cronulla called back by referee McBlain. The Sharks, Barnett. Now with it, Bateman. Again, Cronulla working out of trouble. No more than one pass. Pearce was driven into the ground then by Burnham. Davidson just playing to their game plan, and already almost back to the 40. Macau, almost a forward pass from Trista. Quick play the ball on the last tackle. Trista away this time. Healy kicking long from Mitch Healy, and Mullins made that look very easy. Chaser again, Eddinghausen, and Macau went high on Brett Mullins. McBlain comes over the ruck. McCow will be cautioned.
And he felt the brunt of this. His head was rocked back, Mullins. As he brings the ball up, he's had a better second half so far. And it's not that bad, just a bit of a neck grab.
Raiders just inside their own half, but unable to add to their first half tally as yet. Wesley, tackled by Davidson. Good play on now. Daly away, Kennedy. He just looks a fine athlete, Ben Kennedy. Wiki away with Stone. Stone is taken down by Treaster. Good play, the Cronulla hooker, Steve Walters. Offloads for Stone. Then on Wiki. Wiki back for Kennedy. Now there's a trainer in the action. He's actually grabbed hold of one of the Cronulla players. It's Dean Treaster. Play continues with the Raiders. Daly along now for Boyle. Boyle on the outside of Ettinghausen, and Boyle goes all the way to score. Well, Cronulla have stood back and watched it.
And I gave a rap to Andrew Ettinghausen's defence. This is the worst decision he's made in a long time. I think he's appealing to his outside player to stay with the outside man and that he would get Boyle. Boyle gets around him. He threes play there. You can see that's Ettinghausen. There's a lot of Canberra attacks on the outside, but have a look as play continues now. As Ettinghausen turns, he motions to his fellow defender to stay out on the wing, and then he drops off David Boyle and allows him to score his second.
Yeah, that's funny work there from ET. First of all, the decoy runner drew him in. It was David Furner as the decoy. He sucked ET in, giving Boyle a free run, and then ET saying go out to the outside man, but ET never had him covered. He was probably hoping that Peachy might be able to get there, not to be, and the Raiders back in the match.
Well, second try for the day, David Furner. It becomes, well, every conversion attempt vital, but this one particularly, to get it back to 12 points, and Furner hasn't struck one better this season. So perhaps back in at the Raiders. 24-12, the Sharks lead Canberra.
Play further conversion over the ball try. On the news notified Canberra Raiders on 12 points, Cronulla 24. Here they come. Go you Raiders!
Back to Bruce Stadium. 28 minutes remaining. Canberra positive sign since half-time. Now 12 points down, and that field goal now becomes a real option for the Cronulla Sharks. I don't think they'll muck about if they do get a chance in the next few minutes within kicking range as Walters gets from dummy half. Stone away with Daly. On for Furner. Dead inside their own half, the Canberra Raiders. Cronulla came up with 2 tries in quick time in the first half. The Raiders needing the same as Burnham finds 4 Cronulla defenders. Last tackle for Canberra. Stone. Daly. Again, Healy is up quickly. And Stone is proving a real lifesaver for the Canberra Raiders on the last play.
Well, I also wonder if that's going to be a sign of the times for Canberra, with the fact that Steve Stone is getting a lot more game time at the halfback position than what we've seen in the last couple of months. The last game, Jason Ferris, he played about 15-20 minutes of football, and Steve Stone was out there for the duration. Looks as though Steve Stone might be there for a fair bit of this match as well.
Dykes with the dummy half duties with Pearce there. There's Ricky Stewart, one of the sideline troops for Canberra. There's plenty of them. There will be standing room only round that reserves bench. Cronulla 5 metres inside Canberra's half, with Green on the last. That kick for the line again. And 10 metres out from the Canberra try liners, or rather 15 metres out, is where they'll pack down the scrum.
It's about time they did take a little bit of pressure off Mitch Healy. All game there's been a lot of Canberra players rushing through on him. He's copped a few knocks, and Paul Green just slotting into dummy half, kick the football means that everybody is onside. But he also found touch, which I pointed out does wind the clock down.
Canberra and Andruku. There were two remarkable tries last week from Noah Andruku. Match against the Newcastle Knights. Daly, Boyle is away. Over the 30-metre line, David Boyle, and tackled 5 metres short of halfway. Canberra all of a sudden looked dangerous. Wiki was trapped on halfway by Bateman. A dummy from dummy half, DeVico puts paid to one of the defenders. That was Paul Green who came up first. Now Stone, time to stretch the Cronulla defence. Daly for Boyle. Up there to make the tackle. Boyle struggling to control the ball in the Eddinghausen tackle. He had it around the back of ET. Walters back for Daly, last tackle. This time he had time to get a kick away, but he'd probably like another attempt at that. It went more high than long. Barnett. Taking in the tackle there of Corvo. Sharks with Matt Rogers. Denny Lee.
There's no doubt that Tim Sheen's fired up this Canberra side at half-time. I'm sure that he told them that they had to get aggressive in defence and they had to stiffen up. And they've done both. And that's got them into this game now with plenty of time left to win the match. Still 25 minutes on the clock. And there are some holes starting to appear in this Cronulla defence.
Last play here for the Sharks. Dykes, yet another kicking option. Left footer, but Dykes is leading the chase on Mullins. And Mullins, wrong foot Dykes. Dykes able to come again and make the tackle. Now Steve Collins. And the crowd not happy with a 10. Could play the ball from Steve Stone. He's doing what his coach would have wanted. Furner needing support. Eddinghausen was around the legs. They persevere with a blindside. Corvo. Fifth tackle. Daly shuffles in closer to the ruck, and a penalty on the last for inside the 10. Daly has restarted. The Raiders now with Hetherington. Hetherington is tackled by the Sharks. 25 out from the Cronulla line. Daly again from dummy half. The captain trying to ignite something. Now Furner. Inside the Cronulla 20. Could be a sensational finish coming up. Walters away again for Corvo. Tackled there by Davidson. Canberra with a chance if they can spread the ball. Hetherington, a dummy, picks up Burnham. Now into the line comes Mullins. Mullins put down by Boyle. Cronulla have lost it in turn, but they will have the feed, a double knock on.
Well, they were a chance there, Canberra, because they're starting to control the football a lot better, putting back-to-back sets of 6 together. This ball, though, from Mullins goes to ground.
And they got into trouble because the Cronulla defence on the far side did not move up. When the play came to this side of the field, they got a little bit lazy and thought that the tackle would be made, but when the play came back to them, the time they reacted, they were in trouble.
The Sharks coming out of trouble with Andrew Pearce. On his side, great value. Now Greenhill. Short of halfway. Davidson. It's up in that tackle there of Steve Walters, but 5 tackles. Cronulla have just kept advancing their position, and that kick on the last should pull up short of the dead ball line. Mullins is back there. Rogers leads the chase. Mullins is past one. Eddinghausen was the first man. Mullins has gone touch in goal. Well, he had to try. And the 3 Cronulla chasers were there.
That's a stroke of luck, really, for Canberra, because it looked, for all intents and purposes, Mullins might actually be pushed into touch, which would have given Cronulla a scrum only 10 metres out. Beats ET.
Yeah, he put his foot on the line in the in-goal area.
From the line dropout, the Sharks get another crack, and it's Strauss who's back on the field. He had a 5-minute break on the interchange bench. Dykes with Green. Davidson. He's right up there with the best players today. Les Davidson. Paul Green in support. And in position if they want the shot at field goal. Away from dummy half is Dykes.
They've got to try for 5 and see if they can score, and then take the wind out of the sails the opposition by putting one over. Well, I can hear Canberra players yelling out field goal. They know that that's an option.
Oh, Canberra defence comes up with a big tackle. The cry is certainly out there, field goal. Comes across Green where they're pushing wide of the post. Healy, inside they come with Jeff Bell, who's out there now for the Sharks in the centres. Last tackle, Green has a chance. He kicks for goal, Paul Green, and wide. It remains 12 points the difference.
Well, they've got to keep the field goal as a positive play. At times it can be negative. It's almost an indication to the opposition defence that, no, we can't bust you. They've got to keep trying to score for the 5, and then if they don't bust the line, knock one over.
Steve Roach on the sideline enjoying this one. What about this Cronulla defence?
Well, what they do, they come up out of the line probably better than any other side in the competition. Whether they're behind the referee all the time's another matter, but that was a poor setup for the field goal there. They come 3 plays to the left of the upright, virtually near the sideline, and then have a shot at field goal. Got to power to the post.
So Cronulla Daly, cut-out ball, been knocked down by Cronulla, has it. Play on perhaps for Healy. He regathers. McBlain is looking for the touch judge for advice. He gets none. Play on, Cronulla with Denny Lee. Well, we word that. I'll say that the touch judge said no, knocked down by Cronulla. So the Sharks with it. On the 20, Strauss. Taken there by Walters and Hetherington. Slow play the ball from Strauss. No hurry. Peachy for Long. Long gets a little closer. Ferner. And Burnham with a tackle 5 metres out from the Canberra line. It comes back for Green. Green gives it to Healy. Great tackle, Ruben Wiki. On the last play for the Sharks. From dummy half, the grubber kicks a terrible one. And then Guku is back for the Canberra side.
Well, that's one of the worst options I've seen. From there, once again, they have the chances. The Raiders go wide. There's some space there through Ferner. Through Boyle.
Boyle up over the 40. Peachy is strolling across in cover. Boyle tries to stand up. Peachy. Great offload. They keep it alive with Burnham.
And look who saved the try. It was Strauss having a great game.
It comes across with Nandruku. The Cronulla defence at 6s and 7s. It's still coming for Kennedy. He steps. Kennedy 10 metres out from the Sharks line. Les Davidson was the player to make the tackle. Now Ferris. Daly steps. The Cronulla defenders slipped. It's back with Ferris. 10 out. Now 5 out. Jason Ferris. Davidson again makes the tackle. Canberra. Walters. From dummy half, Steve Walters is over but can't force it.
And the penalty goes, so no doubt a quick tackle will be taken, but they're looking a lot sharper, the Raiders. And now it's Cronulla, whose defence is under a mile of pressure.
Well, was the sin bin an option then? If McBlain found foul with the Cronulla defence, Daly away for Burnham, inside Ferner, Strauss again. Good tackle. The Raiders, Daly probing. He's there to offload, but the Cronulla defence able to hang on. Long and Ettinghausen. Canberra needing a long pass. Walters, dummies on the outside. Now offloads. Ferner, 10 out from the line. Ferner holds it up for Burnham. Burnham, centimetres short of the line and has lost it at the end. Knock on from Canberra.
Oh, and they had the score next ruck. They had a 5-man overlap to the right-hand side of the field. It was the worst option you've ever seen at the other end from Adam Dykes, the little kick. And now Cronulla are falling off tackles left, right and centre. They look tired. And the ball just rolls loose. It could have been the most crucial set of 6 in this game, or may prove to be.
Barnett coming out of trouble. Look at the missed tackle count. Cronulla now 25, Canberra 23. Only missed 9 up to half-time. With a long backslam. Tim Sheens. Must know they're still in this match. Nakau spins away from 2. Hetherington makes the tackle. Cronulla in need of points just to close the door on the Raiders. Greenhill Sort of halfway, Green. Jeff Bell getting in the action as an extra forward, almost the centre. A little by surprise, back for Mullins. All of a sudden the kicking game is not finding space, and Mullins fends away from Eddinghausen. Nandruku and Rogers, and Eddinghausen will take him over the sideline. 65 minutes gone. We'll take a break. 24-12 to the Sharks. Back to Bruce Stadium, 15 out from full time. 24-6 it was at half time, now 24-12. But Cronulla again edging closer to within range of a field goal attempt. Long! Shoulders away there from Ferner. And Cronulla 20 metres out from the Canberra line. Better drive from them now, Denny Lee. And good drive too in defence from Burnham. He's been involved in all their attacking raids in this second half. Green, Healy, Nakau on the inside. Nakau is through one. 10 metres out from the Raiders line. They lead by 12, Peachy. Green, Eddinghausen was on his outside. Steps past, inside ball from Green, and Cronulla have lost it. Walters is back with it. He's with a double knock on, Paul McLean.
And giving a Cronulla feed.
He's found a knock on by Canberra in here somewhere.
I wonder if it was the flick pass from Paul Green. That found its mark, didn't it? So it's got to be.
On Peachy. Came off the hand of Mullins. Cronulla now 5 out again. Eddinghausen will try a blindside play. They won't want to get too close to that sideline. Used up 2 tackles. Dykes is in a dummy half. Nakau in front of the Canberra posts.
Well, you kick the field goal now. Mitch Healy, even from dummy half, could slot round the side.
Nathan Long. Nathan Long able to get some second phase play for Dykes. Again, Cronulla here. Can they get the field goal? Healy steps away, then puts the kick in, and he's missed again.
Well, good pressure put on him. I think it's Ben Kennedy raced out, but from 12 metres out in front, even Blocker could have kicked that one.
They never gave me a kick ball, actually. Something.
You provided the protection, didn't you, Block?
Yeah, it was like they're on a 400 running around me.
So Canberra.
Well, I think they'll learn from that, Cronulla. Next time they get down near those sticks, as Peter said, don't wait for the 5th now. You've got to get even the 2nd or 3rd tackle. Just bang it over, and the pressure is off to some extent.
Daly. Offloading back for Stone. Stone, a wonderful support player in this match. Now 5 metres inside Cronulla's half. Ferris. Daly. Inside pass. Burnham. Mullins. Mullins through the centre. Danny Lee was the tackler. Last tackle here. Making the plea, they were slow getting off. Daly, marginal pass there for Boyle. Now Nandruku on the last. Nandruku with 3 Sharks there, and we'll have a changeover. Cronulla will be in no hurry.
Oh, you don't sacrifice Paul Green on the first tackle to hit it out of your own danger area.
And now Nakau, we mentioned right at the top, they've never won here at Bruce Stadium. Well, they won the reserve grade 50 points to 12. It was 12 all at half time, and a send-off for Canberra led to all sorts of problems. But this would be, well, the rarest of doubles for the Sharks. And Denny Lee. Denny Lee's work rate today, 13 hit-ups, 22 tackles. Near the top of both counts. 45 metres out, Peachy away with Healy. This time he kicks for the corner. One bounce to Nandruku. They'd love a bit of Noah Nandruku magic right now, the Canberra fans. And across with Mullins. Stone away. Burnham on, Daly. Daly, Canberra's away with Wiki. Wiki is up to the 40. Supporters with Kennedy. Kennedy past Peachy. Kennedy's still going, now to Wiki. Wiki doesn't get there, is that a double movement? It's in the hands of Paul McLean and he'll award a try. Scintillating stuff from Canberra, and it's not over yet.
Well, Richard Barnett came up with the tackle on the line, but he came up with the miss at the other end, and it was an awful miss. So go wide, he frees it there. This player here, I know he stayed out with his man, but all it did was open up this enormous hole as play continues. And it looked as though Cronulla might have got out of some trouble here with Peachy able to turn and get the support player, but Ruben Wiki stayed alive. Ben Kennedy stepped out of the Peachy tackle. Here comes Barnett late, but the momentum takes Ruben Wiki over, and that's what's been called by the in-goal touch judge.
Well, a complete lack of communication there between Barnett and Bateman has allowed Wiki just to stroll through a huge yawning gap. They did well, Cronulla, get some bodies there to try and prevent the try, but not enough. Ben Kennedy, a great backer-upper, he gets there, puts a step on, and the ball comes back to Wiki. And this front-on view will tell us whether it was a double movement. It looks okay from the side-on view. What a player Ben Kennedy, had a fantastic game today. Now Barnett makes the last charge.
Well, he's stretched out. Kennedy's got what appears to be a dislocated thumb. What about the stride he has? Kennedy in support to catch up with Ruben Wiki.
Yeah, it appeared as though Ruben Wiki didn't need to promote the football, and that's a very important miss.
So we'll take a break. Big finish coming up. 9 to go, 24-16.
Cronulla 24. Just a reminder, the Queensland Kangaroos Football Club raffle held today. We have a winner for the first number, so the new number is 0804. So the Queensland Kangaroos Football Club raffle, 0804.
Welcome back, 9 minutes from full time in Cronulla. I guess you could say a couple of furlongs remaining. Canberra back with David Wesley from that kickoff. Cronulla had the big lead at half-time, 18 points. That's been whittled back to 8. And it's almost become a matter of survival for the dying stages as Walters, 15 metres inside their own half, the Canberra Raiders. Ferris, Daly on for Boyle, and Buku is on the outside. The Cronulla defence has been stretched here. Burnham back the other way now. Daly. This is Furner. Good tackle from Nathan Long. An assist there from Healy. Play the ball for Walters to kick on the last, straight to Peachy. And Peachy comes back over the 40-metre line. The Sharks, Matt Rogers. There by Daly and Stone. Jan Strauss, he's had a good fist of his first match here.
He may lack some of the subtleties of the game, but he's certainly tough enough to play rugby league. Well, he has thrown his body in on plenty of occasions, kept getting up. Danny Lee straightens up now, and what a crucial miss it was by David Furner, that last conversion attempt. 8 points now you would think would be too much with the same amount of minutes on the board.
Nearly centre field, they're a hardy lot down here. Crowd today of just over the 11,500 mark as Cronulla attack with Strauss. This is the last play and they've lost it. Let's play the changeover for Canberra. Crowd today 11,539. This is a drop ball on the last tackle for the Sharks. Put down by Green when he was hoping to get the kick away. Comes here for Hetherington. Back for Wiki, Daly. Quick hands. Still alive for the Raiders with Furner. Greenhill makes the tackle. Staying away with Daly. On for Boyle. Boyle is taken across by Eddinghausen. Back for Mullins. Well, just got to keep it alive, the Canberra Raiders. 15 inside their own half, but the tackle count has restarted. Wesley back for Hetherington. They've lost metres on the play, but the tackle count has restarted. And now a penalty for Canberra. Interesting too, the penalty count is now 9-3, and that is to the Canberra Raiders. And Don't know whether Cronulla has received a penalty in this second half. So the Raiders, one last drive, or was that played? Walters, Ferris, Daly, Furner, run around with Daly, on for Boyle. The Raiders chant goes up from the fans, but the clock is now their biggest opponent. Less than 5 remaining. Ferris, Hetherington, past 1, able to push on for Mullins, Furner, there's an overlap on the right, and Furner goes through the centre. Strauss again was there over the top. 25 metres out from the line. Stone, a spin, doesn't offload. And Andrew Pearce makes the tackle. They pull just that little bit closer. Ferris, long pass. A la Ricky Stewart, Daly, Wesley, great tackle from Craig Greenhill. Big tackle on David Wesley. Last tackle now for Canberra. Daly, the bomb is taken. The chasers are onside. Up goes Barnett and takes it. And that could well seal the match for the Sharks.
Oh, what a bottler there from Barnett. Sensational stuff from the winger. Canberra really throwing everything at this Sharks team. And that's a corker.
The take was great, but so too the tackle from Craig Greenhill. I think if he misses that tackle or doesn't come up with a tackle, they're scored upon. And Craig Greenhill has been outstanding this afternoon. His second game back, 20 tackles and 14 hit-ups, and all of them have counted.
Sharks kicking on the last peachy. Back go the Canberra Raiders again with Mullins. This time the chase is there, 3 of them. And the kicker of the football was there first, that's David Peachy. He's a real confidence player. In a game like today, can only improve the Sharks' charge home. Pre-season competition last year, David Peachy was just about the best player. Cronulla made it through to the final. Now the Canberra Raiders. Daly along for Kennedy. Kennedy offloads. Wiki. Tackle there by Bateman. Stone. Long pass from dummy half. Ferris. Daly. Longer still there across Wesley. Wesley inside. Raiders launch one more attack. Walters. Back comes for Ferris. Away, Canberra trying to keep this alive with Mullins. Mullins now for Wiki. Bottom line, they're still inside their own 30.
And the last tackle now, and Laurie Daly will either chip for himself or run the football. He has chipped for himself, throws it over his head. Taken there by Luke DeVico, but it will be a turnover. And that is the game for the Raiders. They've tried hard this second half, and we have seen a return to form from the likes of Brett Mullins and David Furner. The first half gave away too much head start.
So Cronulla Peachy, here comes Les Davidson. Tackled 35 metres out from the Canberra line. Treaster is there. Strauss, he's got plenty of leg speed there, up to the 20, back for Treaster. And Cronulla. Away with Green, Healy along, quick hands, Bateman, Barnett, stepping inside and away from Daly. An offload back for Eddinghausen. Tawira Nakau, they're on the Raiders 20. Lee, a try should come of this. Peachy, Nandruku comes up. Peachy able to pass, and Nandruku has come up with a football.
Well, the game appeared to be over at half-time, but the Raiders have shown great qualities in this second half as they receive a penalty. The tackle being called, not completed by Cronulla, and they've stormed home in this second half, but they'll still be outside the top 8. They'll realise that this was a real opportunity to get into that all-important 8.
Again, still spreading it. Kennedy was on the end of that Daly pass, and Wiki has just wrestled his way through. He was clipped high and able to offload Walters. The advantage is with Canberra. Walters, Ferris. It's been a lively second half. Daly, long floating pass. Boyle has knocked it down. Touch of AFL. Knockback, says McBlain, and Canberra just keep it going. Wesley back for Stone. Stone in the centre of the field. Cal makes the tackle. Daly. DeVico. Easter is around the legs. Inside the final minute now. Well, they've kept coming, the Canberra Raiders. DeVico slips a pass off the deck. Ferris, Wiki. A countdown comes from the fans. Wiki puts the kick in. Peachy decides to punt it over the sideline. Out on the full, and that is full time. Cronulla have come to Bruce Stadium with a mission to pick up 2 competition points for the first time in their history, and they've done just that. 24-16 to the Sharks over the Raiders. And some happy Cronulla players on centre screen there. David Peachy, one of their best. We'll take a break. Peter and Paul will come back to wrap things up from Bruce Stadium. Steve Roach will have the Optus man of the match, but Cronulla, the winners here, 24-16.